Hey y'all, how y'all doing today? This is Pambella with Real Talk. Why did I? We in series 2, part 8, the drug abuser. I'm gonna jump right back into it, y'all. So as we arguing, and I said he was trying to pour the beer on top of my head, just stupid shit. I ran outside. I told him to get out my house. So as I'm standing outside, the door is wide open. I see him throwing stuff outside, y'all. Now, when I tell y'all I see him throwing stuff outside, not knowing he throwing my shit outside too. How you gonna throw me out my place and I live here? So I went back up to the front door. I saw that he was putting my shoes and stuff outside, like he kicking me out my own place. I grabbed him. I snatched him out. I closed my door, even though some of my stuff was outside. I told him he gotta go. Just leave, get away from me, just go. I say about 20 minutes after him knocking on the door, cursing, trying to get back inside, I didn't hear nothing. So after I didn't hear nothing, I opened up the door and cracked it, and then I didn't see nobody out there. So I grabbed my belongings, snatched them back inside. So as I'm inside, I didn't hear nothing from him. I was like, you know what? I gotta move out this place. So a couple days passed by, y'all. So I'm out looking for somewhere to stay. My son, I told him what happened. He's like, yeah, mom, we gotta move. We gotta move. So I end up finding a little townhome place that was around the corner from where I lived at, and I ended up getting in contact with the landlord, and I ended up getting the place. It was only like 675, y'all. When I say it was nice, it was nice. Monroe, Georgia is not really an expensive place to be. I mean, you can move up there, but they do have like cheap living because it's so country. So I found this little townhouse. It was upstairs, downstairs. It was a 3 bedroom, 2 bath, and people only wanted like 675 a month for it, y'all. And when I say 675, 675. I ended up moving in the townhome, and as I moved in the townhome, he had been trying to figure out where I was, what I had going on. He was calling me. I didn't answer any of his calls. I had to move out the apartment. I guess he went over there. He didn't see that I was at the apartment. So I'm over there living. I'm doing my thing. I'm working. Next thing you know, I get a knock at the door. Open up the door. Y'all, why this man done found out where I stayed at? He trying to come up in there. I told him he couldn't come in there. I stepped outside and closed the door behind me and asked him what did he want. Oh, why you ain't tell me you moved out? Why you ain't tell me you was doing this, doing that? I was like, it's none of your business. I'm not gonna argue with you. I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna do it at all. So he left. So me and my son continued to live there. Um, we lived there. We did our thing. Next thing you know, something happened. Something happened with my family where I had to leave. Like I was in the place for like a month, y'all. So something happened. I had to leave, and I ended up leaving my stuff down there in the apartment, in the townhouse, and I didn't tell the drug abuser what was going on. I just packed up my stuff. Me and my son left, and I said I was gonna come back and get my stuff like in another month or so because I had to get a truck or something to come back up to get the stuff. So I waited about a month or so, and then after a month or so, I went back up there to my place, and I went to go inside my place. Y'all, why wasn't no furniture in there? Somebody had went in there and took my TV. Somebody then went in there and took my couch. Like it wasn't nothing in there. I took a blank trip, not knowing that somebody had broke in my house. Come to find out, I know it was him. I knew it was a drug abuser. It had to be him because he found out where I stay. I think they broke in and they took my stuff out of the apartment. So I'm on the phone. I'm calling him and calling him and calling him. He ain't answering. He ain't answering. He ain't answering. I'm like, what in the heck is this man? So I'm calling him and calling him and calling him. As I'm calling him, he finally answered the phone. I was like, hey, did you go inside my place and take my furniture? He's like, no, I ain't been in your place. That one time I came over there, you told me to come back. I ain't come back. I said, but I've been gone for a month. Nobody else knew where I stayed. You knew where I stayed at. Did you take my furniture? No, I didn't take your furniture. I didn't take your furniture. So, mind you, I didn't mention, but I had his best friend phone number because I guess she was trying to be my friend and get my number and say, hey, we can hang out sometime, which I never hung out with her. But I texted her and I said, hey, did you know anything about somebody going inside of my place taking my furniture? Not mind you, I didn't tell her that I had moved, but she was like, "No, I don't know nothing about nothing being taken out your place and all of this here." So I was like, "Okay, whatever." She was like, "Well, what happened?" I was like, "Never mind, just forget about it." So I was trying to pick her to see if she knew anything. So she didn't say nothing. But y'all, I'm telling y'all right now, I know this fool broke in my place. Somehow he got in there and he took my couch. I had a red couch. He took my flat screen TV, which I had one of those big TVs from back in the day, the ones that sit down on the floor and they had the big screen. I had one of those in there, and then I had a brand new bed set upstairs. But come to find out, he didn't take the full bed set. He took the mattress. Somebody took the mattress out of there, and I know he did it. I'm just gonna say he did it, and he did it. He took that stuff out of there. So I got what I can get out of there, and I left. I didn't call him. I didn't say nothing to him. So this is how I ended up leaving him, because something happened in my family and I had to go back to Florida. That wasn't nothing but God. You know, I didn't have to go through the works with him with the arguing and trying to fight so much. But he was on drugs bad. Like he was on that powder. You know, he had, like he just couldn't function without being on that powder. So when I found out about the powder and everything, that was a no anyway. So then I get home, I get back to Florida, and he kept calling me, trying to get in contact with me. So I goes on what was it we had? Facebook? Yeah, Facebook. And I went on his page and I seen him take a picture, right? So when he took the picture, I'm looking in the background, girl, y'all, why I seen my couch. I seen a red couch and the TV probably was on in there too. I didn't see the TV, but I seen the couch. So if he got the couch, that means he got the TV too. So he got the couch in there. So I screenshot it and I sent him a picture. I said, "Is that my couch?" He told me, "No, that ain't your couch. That's another couch that I had got. I had me a red couch too. You know I like red." I said, "Nah, that's my couch. You broke in my house. You went in there and got my stuff. You stole my furniture out my house. No, I ain't steal shit. I ain't steal nothing. I ain't steal this. I ain't steal that." So I got on the phone. I called one of his cousins, the one that I had met when I had first came up there. She was really, really cool. Like, you know, she was pretty cool. So I called her and told her what was going on. And she was like, "I'm going to find out." She said, "I'm going to go over there and I'm going to find out if he got your stuff over there." I sent her pictures of what I had. So she ended up going over there a few days later. She called me and told me, yeah, he got the couch and he got the TV. She sent me pictures of it and everything, y'all. So this is what I don't understand. You know, I do understand, but the man on powder, I guess when you're on them type of drugs, powder and everything, it make you want to do things like that. You know, you start doing things that you don't want to do. You start lying. You always want to attack somebody. And that's what I was dealing with. I was dealing with a drug abuser. He was on drugs and he was trying to abuse me at the same time. So anybody who going through anything like that, you don't have to go through that, y'all. Y'all can let that go. You know, when you got somebody who on drugs, doing powder, you know, just doing hardcore drugs, that's not a good combination right there, because when they can't get that stuff, they take it out on you. You know, they want to argue with you, they want to do things, they want to embarrass you. Like, it's just crazy. Like, it's just crazy. And I just thank God that whatever happened down at the time in Florida and I had to leave, I'm just thank God for it, because that was just a calling for me to just go. He said, "No, you're not going to go through nothing else. I'm going to go ahead and get you out of this situation and you just going to leave." But I just can't believe the man would just break in there and take the stuff like that, y'all. Like, that just wasn't cool. But like I said, anybody who going through anything like that, you don't have to go through that. You know, people on drugs, yeah, you want to stick beside them. Go ahead. If you feel like they're gonna change, let them change. But that right there, I wasn't finna stick beside nobody, because that wasn't nobody I was trying to change. And I know for sure that wasn't somebody that I was gonna keep in my life for the rest of my life. And with that being said, y'all, I just wanna say I appreciate everybody following me on here on my real talk. Why did I? You know, I'm just going through what I want to go through right now as far as telling my story, and I want people out here to hear what I got to say, because like I said, you don't have to take nothing from nobody. You are your own person. You make your own choices. You sacrifice for who you need to sacrifice for, because there's a lot of people out here that won't sacrifice for you like that. And I made a bad choice packing up, taking my children up there somewhere I don't need to be. But God said, "You know what, I'm going to send you back where you come from." And with that being said, y'all, we got series 3 coming up. Why did I? The Manipulator. Y'all stay tuned.